Hey there, and welcome to Broadband Deployment News. So the NTIA is releasing over $250 million in broadband infrastructure funds, but it's not from the investment or the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. I'll be right back and tell you all about it. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So we all know that the NTIA is in charge of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, also called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, also known as parts of it, 42.5 billion of it's known as BEAD, or Broadband Equity Deployment and Equity Access and Deployment. So there's all that money out there that we're kind of looking forward to and waiting for, and the NTIA has announced some money from a prior program that it almost sounds like it's coming from that program. If you read the press release or read some of the other stories about it, it might confuse you, but it's not from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So let's see what that was from. So you can see here the press release on their site. So Department of Commerce, NTIA awards $277 million in grants to expand broadband infrastructure. Department of Commerce, National Telecommunication Information Administration, or the NTIA, announced today it has awarded 13 grants as part of the Broadband Infrastructure Program. So that right there is confusing, right? But that's what this is called. The Broadband Infrastructure Program. These grants, totaling more than $277 million, will be used to connect more than 133,000 unserved households. 12 states and 1 territory. You can see them there: Georgia, Guam is the territory, Kentucky, etc. Thanks to, and then here, this also is confusing, this quote from Secretary Raimondo. Thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law, we now have the opportunity to connect every unserved household in the country, ensuring that all Americans are able to participate in our 21st century economy. But this is not that law, so I think she's just saying, well, thanks to this other law that was passed, we'll eventually be able to connect everybody. But this is something different. You can see it right here, the Broadband Infrastructure Program, which was funded by the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021, was designed to support broadband infrastructure deployment in unserved areas, especially in rural areas. NTIA thoroughly and objectively reviewed applications using a 3-stage process: initial administration and eligibility review of complete application packets, merit review, and programmatic review. So it says, again, this is part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, and it says 2021, but this act actually passed at the tail end of 2020. So it was December 27th, 2020 when this was passed. And the act includes $288 million in this, what they're calling, in this thing called the Broadband Infrastructure Program. So it's $288 million that was included in that program. And you can see here it's $277 million that's being awarded right now. So that kind of tells you the length of time that it takes for these things to happen. So the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, or the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, passed on November 15th of last year. So we've been saying that we probably won't be seeing any money coming from that until early 2023. So that kind of tracks with what you're seeing here, is in that this law passed at the end of 2020, and we're just now seeing the funds from that. Most of them granted, a little pun there. But you know, it took this long. Now they have said they're hiring just over 100 people, like 110 people at the NTIA to help with the IIJ grants, because they're going to have a person for each state. So if you are a state, you're going to have a person at the NTIA that's going to be working with you specifically on your grants for the IIJA, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. So that's good. So maybe things will move along since they'll have so many more people, and they won't be just doing it with the staff that they have. So we'll have to see about that. But again, this is not the IIJA. This Broadband Infrastructure Program is part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act that passed December 27, 2020. And you can see who's getting money here. So there's about $8 million for Lumpkin County, Georgia. That's for fiber optic broadband in Lumpkin County, 5,448 households. About $12 million, almost $13 million in Guam. That's middle mile and last mile broadband deployment, 10,000 unserved households there. Scott County Fiscal Court. It's interesting in Kentucky that the fiscal courts are the ones that do this for some reason. I know the fiscal courts are the ones that seem to get involved in providing broadband to their areas. So about $3 million We'll construct fiber to serve 5,351 unserved households in a project area, reaching, they say, 100% of currently unserved homes. And we got almost 30 million. That's in Louisiana, the the Planning Commission there, fiber to the home network to bring qualifying broadband to 22,196 unserved households in the region. 28 million in Maine, 11,746 unserved households across the state. That's also last mile there. So it's interesting, these last mile ones, they're not actually connecting the subscriber, they're connecting in the area where the subscriber is to basically to the backbone, I guess. So if you've got an unserved area sitting off somewhere, you can lay fiber there, but you need last mile to be able to get them, to get that broadband connection off to somewhere where it can actually get out on the internet. So it's interesting that they're counting homes that way, but that's what they're doing there. Another last mile project, 42 million. I love how on some of these it's got the cents. So $42,241,491.12. Fiber deployment across 12 counties, 13,094 unserved households with up to 1 gig symmetrical service there. 7 million approximately and 86 cents. I shouldn't say approximately, exactly $7,350,000 and 86 cents. 5,568 unserved households, 169 businesses, and 21 anchor institutions there, and that's in Elko County, Nevada. We've got North Carolina, 29 million, almost 30 million last mile broadband project, 15,000 approximately unserved households across the county. 20 million last mile, and this is last mile fixed wireless service. So this is in Huntington County, 6 Pennsylvania counties. I guess Huntington County was the ones that applied, but 6 Pennsylvania counties. And again, about 20 million last mile fixed wireless to about 7,200 or so unserved households. Then in Sabine County, Texas, $12,700,959.02. Fiber broadband service to 5,254 households, 158 businesses, and 2 community anchor institutes or institutions. Another last mile and last mile fiber and last mile wireless projects. So mixed here, $30 million, exactly $30 million. Nice round number. Washington State Department of Commerce applied for that. 5 Washington counties, and that's going to serve 7,196 unserved households. And then finally, County of Logan County, West Virginia, almost $20 million. That's for 12,859 unserved households. That's a last mile broadband project there. So you can see that lots of good's being done with this. So think about this. Think of all these locations that were unserved. And this Consolidated Appropriations Act, unserved was 25 by 3. So very similar to the IIJA, where unserved is 25 by 3. The IIJA added an underserved component of 100 by 20. Anybody less than that was underserved, but you had to be having service where it did not reach 25 by 3 to be unserved in this particular case. So all these locations have got dollars now that are going to be going there. So as the FCC puts together their broadband maps, all of these should be taken off of the maps there. So even before this IIJA money gets allocated, we're seeing more and more locations are being served. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do with that $42.25 or so billion in the IIJA. As far as hitting unserved and underserved homes. It could be that more money than was anticipated is going to be going to underserved, because a lot of these unserved locations are going to be taken off of the map by things like this, by ARPA, by RDOF, another federal program that dollars being allocated, maybe by 5G with Verizon and T-Mobile and AT&T now all covering big swaths of area with mid-band 5G service that can exceed 100 megabits per second. Who knows? So you're going to have all these areas. So maybe unserved will be handled pretty quickly, and then they'll start going to underserved. And maybe there'll be money left over. If you're a service provider, you may need to be considering this. There may be money left over once unserved and underserved are all covered to then start overbuilding areas that just have one operator there, because the Secretary of Commerce has said that that is something that they will be doing. They want to bring prices down, and if they see that there's just one service provider in an area, even if that area is covered, that is going to be fair game once unserved and underserved areas have been covered with these funds. So just be aware of that if you're a service provider. Make sure that you're providing good service, good speeds, good customer service, get your customers happy, and then maybe you can make a case and keep your prices reasonable, and maybe you can make a case that you are providing affordable broadband and there doesn't need to be another competitor there. Just something to think about. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully this was helpful. If so, please give me a like, give me a thumbs up on the video. If you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button, ring the little bell on YouTube, and you'll be notified whenever I'm live. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be here live at 3 o'clock for Tech Tuesday. So that'll be a different topic, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.